You first want to grab 2 packages of these 1 gallon paint stir sticks. I get mine from Home Depot, and you want a total of 13 paint stir sticks all together. First, I just started piling them right on top of each other. Just make sure they are nice and straight. And then using some of these jumbo craft sticks or popsicle sticks and using this Dollar Tree adhesive glue, which is a great substitute for E6000. With a mixture of hot glue, I am just placing those popsicle sticks on the back of the paint sticks to hold these all together. The more craft sticks, the better. That way this sign will be nice and sturdy. Now that the sign is made, I'm going to be using some brown acrylic paint. And what I'm doing is just placing some of the brown paint all throughout the paint sticks, using a baby wipe to apply that paint right on. This is just going to leave you with this faux wood stained look without using any of those harsh chemicals that are inside a wood stain. Go ahead and let that dry. And then I'm just applying some petroleum jelly just randomly all throughout the sign. And this is going to act as a barrier for when I put this Waverly chalk paint in the color crimson on the top. So just make sure you have a generous amount of the crimson chalk paint on your paintbrush and just apply it going back and forth. Go ahead and allow that to completely dry. And once dry, I just go over the sign with this metal scraper tool that you could get from Dollar Tree. And some of that red chalk paint is going to scrape right off, leaving you with this awesome, chippy, weathered, finished look. Next, I had this wooden star that I also got from Dollar Tree, along with this self-adhesive wall tile. I'm just placing the star on the back side of the tile and just tracing it out. Once I have that traced out, just go ahead and cut that tracing right out. And then all I'm gonna do is just place that wall tile back onto the wooden cutout, and I'm just going to hot glue it right back on. Use a finger protector because the hot glue is actually pretty hot even while applying it on top of that wall tile. And once that glue dries, now I'm going over this with Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. So I ended up just covering this with 2 coats. I did not really paint this to perfection. I was okay with some of that gray still peeking through, but once that was painted, go ahead and let that dry. And then just to make this look a little bit more weathered, I went around the star with some Waverly antique wax. Just wiping up some excess with a paper towel in case I went a little too heavy with the antique wax. And then I also went all inside of the star just to really make that design pop. And then go ahead and grab that Dollar Tree adhesive glue with hot glue, place it on the back side of the star, and then just place that right down onto the sign. I just placed it on the top, and then I put something heavy on top of it so that way it dries evenly. You want to let that glue completely adhere for about 10 to 15 minutes. I then just made this stencil using my Cricut machine, but before I apply it, I want to make sure that I sand down the surface where I'm going to be placing it. This is just going to make sure that that petroleum jelly is no longer there. There's no residue of that. Otherwise, that stencil is not going to stick. So just sand it down so that way the stencil has something to adhere to. Then place the stencil right down, smooth it out with your fingers or the little scraper tool that you have with your Cricut, and then go ahead and just peel back that transfer tape. Then I'm using a Dollar Tree cut up sponge and some more of that Plaster chalk paint. Just make sure you have a small amount of paint on your dabber and just begin applying it using light dabbing motions. And then go ahead and peel that stencil right off. And look at how adorable this is. Next, I grabbed these evergreen pieces off of Amazon, and I'm just going to cut down the ends. And I'm just placing 2 of them side by side on the top of the star, just using a generous amount of hot glue to hold these in place. And then I just added some red berries as well. And then just finished it off by hot gluing a pine cone right in the center of that evergreen pieces. Again, use a generous amount of hot glue as needed, and then just allow that glue to completely dry. Look at how adorable. And then for the hanger, I actually decided to drill some large holes at the top of the sign. If you do not have a drill, you could always just hot glue the nautical rope onto the back side of the sign. But again, I drilled the holes and then I just poked some nautical rope right through, just tied it off in a knot to make sure it was nice and secure. And there you go, guys. I think this came out so adorable. I had so much fun creating this. I hope this inspires you guys to create your own in your own special way. If it did, please be sure to sprinkle the love. Thank you so, so much, and I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.